Hello everyone, welcome back to our channel. Let's start with the news today. Belarus deploys up to 4 BTG near Ukraine border. About 4 battalion tactical groups of the Belarusian Armed Forces are deployed near Ukraine border. As of 24 o'clock on March 23rd, Russian troops had not fulfilled the task of reaching administrative borders of Donetsk and Luhansk regions, encircling the cities of Kyiv and establishing control over the left bank of Ukraine. At the same time, the enemy did not abandon attempts to resume offensive operations to capture Kyiv, Chernihiv, Sumy, Kharkiv, and Mariupol. The General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine posted on Facebook. According to the General Staff data, due to numerous losses, the command of the occupying forces continue to form and move additional units of the Russian Armed Forces to the border of Ukraine to improve the situations at the front. In order to recover the losses of their 144th Motorized Rifle Divisions of 20th Combined Arms Army of their western military districts, contracting measures have been intensified in the military commissariat at Smolensk regions of the Russian Federations. According to the General Staff, servicemen returning from Syria after the mission are also being recruited to a replenish Russian unit. Remain of units of the eastern military districts and airborne troops are arriving from the territory of the Jomel regions of the Republic of Belarus on the border with Ukraine. In violent directions, the invader did not carry out offensive operations. At the same time, certain units of the armed forces of the Republic of Belarus are still likely to participate in the Russian aggressions against Ukraine. In particular, according to the General Staff, there are up to 4 battalion tactical groups of the Belarusian Armed Forces near Ukraine border. In policy directions, the enemy intensified air reconnaissance in the areas of the localities of the Halavivka, Lutis, and Lebedevka. Along the line of contact, the enemy continued to equip positions and install minefields. On March 23rd, Russian troops carry out artillery shelling in the areas of Karnivka, Horenka, Pucha Vodiska, Novi Pechisi, Romanevka, and the northeast outskirts of Kyiv. In the Siversky directions, the enemy continued to concentrate forces and means to try to resume offensive operations by units of the central military districts. In Chernihiv directions, Russian invaders tried to block and capture Chernihiv, conduct air reconnaissance of the city's areas, presumably to assess the result of airstrikes and identify their position of Ukraine armed forces. The enemy was stopped in Brovary directions. The invader tried to break through the defensive positions of Ukrainian troops in order to reach the outskirts of Kyiv, but failed. In Slobozansky directions, the invader launched artillery strikes on Kharkiv. Russian units failed to carry out active offensive operations. In the directions of Sumy, units of the 1st Tank Army did not conduct active offensive operations. Their main efforts focused on blocking the cities, launching artillery and airstrikes on civilian infrastructures. In the directions of Izium, the invaders attempted to break through the defenses of Ukrainian troops in the settlement of the Donetsk and Topolsky and Kamyanka. The fighting continues. In Donetsk directions, the enemy shells Ukraine armed forces units in the vast majorities of directions. The main efforts are focused on capturing the localities of Rubizna, Severodonetsk, Popasna, Veresky, Marinka, and Mariupol. The invaders are regrouping and building up groups to resume offensive operations. They are actively conducting reconnaissance trying to move forward, bypassing the positions of Ukraine armed forces, and place a resistance and not entering the battle. In Popasna area, with the support of artillery, Russian troops continue to try to advance into the town and gain a foothold in previously captured positions. They are not succeeding at the moment. They are suffering losses. The enemy also continue to launch air and artillery strikes on Mariupol civilian infrastructure, but to no avail. In Tarisky directions, according to the General Staff, changes in the compositions and position of the enemy were not noted. In the Sauber area, the enemy continue equipping in positions, takes measures to restore combat capability, replenish a stock of ammunition and fuel lubricants in order to prepare for the resumption of offensive operations. The armed forces of Ukraine, in cooperation with the Territorial Defense Unit, give a decent rebuff to the invader in all directions. The enemy suffered significant losses in personnel and equipment. On February 24, Russian President Vladimir Putin started a full-scale invasion of Ukraine. Russian troops shells and destroys key infrastructures, massively fire on residential areas of Ukrainian cities, towns and villages using artillery, MLRS, and ballistic missiles. This is the end of our news today. What do you think about this news? Please comment below. And if you like this video, please subscribe for our channel. Thanks for watching and see you next time.